Hello guys, welcome back. We have a big trade to announce involving Vincent Trocheck going to the Carolina Hurricanes. This is a big one. Now, Vincent Trocheck has been one of the most rumored guys throughout the last week, but a deal is finally done and he's going off to the Carolina Hurricanes. So, if you guys are new here, if you're wondering my thoughts and opinions, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're new, let's get right into it. When it comes to the trade details of this big one, Vincent Trocheck gets sent to the Carolina Hurricanes in exchange for Erik, Haula, Lucas Wallmark, Chase Priskie, and Edo Lyristolainen. Now, this is a pretty big one. For sure, and for the Florida Panthers, it's an interesting one, and for the Canes, they get a big guy in Vincent Trocheck. He's a center that will be a big impact one, and he's had a relatively weird year in Florida. He's taken a lot of penalties, been a little bit unlucky, I would say, but is still a pretty good player, and I think is bound for a rebound with the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, the big thing is the cap, because with Florida, Vincent Trocheck was a guy that was kind of holding them back cap-wise. He had a lot to his name, and for the Carolina Hurricanes, it's a lot less of a big deal. They want to go after a big name, and Vincent Trocheck is that. To me, this is a pretty interesting one because I think it can affect both teams in a lot of ways, but I think it's mostly for Carolina a way to get another big impact guy on that offense to potentially make a cup run or at least make the playoffs at this point, because that is not set in stone either. For the Florida Panthers, though, they get quite a good players here. Erik Haula is a guy that hasn't been used too much in Carolina, has been scratched multiple times, but I think is really good and can be a guy in that middle six that can help Florida a lot. Same thing with Lucas Wallmark, who I think can be very solid. He's a guy that is really starting to find his groove in Carolina, but now will be sent to the Florida Panthers. Priskie is a guy who can be an NHL defenseman, but was an NCAA guy last year. And Lyristolainen, who is a pretty solid prospect, and I think will be a middle six guy too for Florida. It's a trade that I think can help both teams, Florida more in the future and cap space wise, and Carolina in the now. But Vincent Trocheck, who was one of the biggest names in this market, is now off the books. And personally, when it comes to this one, I'm kind of back and forth on who wins it. Again, it's my first impressions really, so bear in mind with that. But to be able to get Vincent Trocheck, I think is huge for the Carolina Hurricanes. That's a guy who can perform in the playoffs, I think. And when it comes to their center core, makes it a lot more deep. Even though you did have to give up Haula and Wallmark, Trocheck is a guy who is a lot better than the stats show so far this year. And I think with Carolina, with guys like, Niederreiter, Sebastian Aho, Svechnikov, those are the kind of firepower pieces that Trocheck wasn't really with in Florida, even though he was getting power play time. I still think with Carolina, I think he'll be a force as well. I'm not sure if he's going to be amazing throughout the rest of this year, but he does have term left. I think next year he will be very solid and an important part of that Carolina team, and he's a guy that I think can perform very well there. Although it might not be instantly, I think this is a pretty good trade for the Carolina Hurricanes too, and even though you have to give up big guys like Haula and Wallmark, two of which who I think will help the Panthers a lot, still giving up Vincent Trocheck for Florida is a tough blow. But I think this is mostly a cap dump trade because for Florida, he does have term and does have a lot of cap to his name too. So now Florida is a lot more flexible in that department, especially after this season. So I see it as more of a trade there. But in these videos, I always discuss who wins this trade. So officially, I'm going to go with the Florida Panthers, even though it is very close here. I really do like what the Panthers were able to get. You get Erik Haula, Lucas Wallmark as well, and you get a couple of guys in Priskie and Lyristolainen who can be NHL factor players, I think. And Vincent Trocheck is a guy who's kind of been declining a little bit. Ever since that injury, he really hasn't been the same, I think. And I think he's a guy that will help Carolina, but Carolina had to give up a pretty big price for it. Now, I'm also really surprised that there's no picks or no key prospects involved in this. If you would have said that Trocheck would have been a Carolina Hurricane, I would have expected guys like maybe an Antoni Honka or a Jake Bean or something, but nothing like that. It's more of a cap dump trade for the Florida Panthers, and they still get some good NHL players who will help them make the playoffs this year too. It's interesting because both Carolina and Florida are trying to make the playoffs, and they work together to make a deal, but that's just what makes this trade a lot more fascinating. So I'm going to go with the Florida Panthers as the winners in this one. But if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Going a little bit more off the cuff of these videos for the trade deadline because It is craziness right now. And of course, comment down below your thoughts on this video, what you think of my pick, whether you think Florida or Carolina wins this trade. Let me know down in the comments. And also, share this video with your friends. Get the word out there. And click on this card right here to watch all of my trade videos right in one place. Right in one playlist. My name is Nathan. I cannot talk right now. I'll see you guys next video or stream. Goodbye.